2013 was a very different time in YouTube. Although it was already a huge platform, it most definitely didn't have the audience it does today. It's easy to forget just how much the site has changed over the years, so today we're going to take a look at 2013's biggest YouTubers and where they are now. It feels like MrBeast and YouTube go hand in hand, but 10 years ago the biggest YouTube channels were very different. No one was really making super high budget content anything like what MrBeast does, and the thought of 100 million subscribers was absolutely impossible at the time. In fact, as you're going to find out, only 2 people even managed to reach 10 million subs that year, let alone 100 million. So who was the first to reach 10 million subs? I'll give you a moment to guess. If you thought PewDiePie, you would be 100% incorrect. It was actually Smosh who managed to reach the milestone 2 months before he did. PewDiePie is still one of the most subscribed and viewed channels on YouTube even 10 years on, and as you're about to find out, he is one of the rare instances where a big channel actually manages to survive. Now, he doesn't post anywhere near as frequently now that he's started a family with his wife, and he's in a sort of semi-retirement, but it's very hard to argue that he isn't still a top-tier YouTuber. Every single video he uploads gets several million views within days of uploading, and it's clear that he didn't start posting less frequently due to falling off or anything like that. In 2013, his content was very different, being one of the pioneers of the Let's Play format. These videos were fairly light on editing compared to most videos published today, and were mainly focused on funny moments from popular video games, including Happy Wheels. PewDiePie was almost the face of YouTube that year, and countless articles and news stories were written about him. He really was the first YouTuber who was a household name. Even people who didn't watch him would recognize his face and know his name. PewDiePie remains as one of the most loved YouTubers in history, even well over a decade on. Now on to Smosh. Smosh was a comedy channel started by 2 friends, Ian Hickox and Anthony Padilla. Although it might seem like their content from 2013 is similar to a lot of modern YouTubers, you have to remember, these guys were way ahead of the trend. I genuinely can't remember a single other channel which had such a high production budget, and due to the quality of their videos, they basically had no competition. These guys were the masters of widely appealing, light-hearted comedy videos. They were original, and their titles and thumbnails completely changed the YouTube meta. Block capitals and bright colours started to become the norm, and they were some of the first YouTubers to really start to understand how to systematically grow a channel and find success. Now, Smosh has a very interesting and complex history, which would be too long to fit into this video, but here's a very quick rundown. Ian and Anthony basically sold their channel to a large company in exchange for stock in that company in 2011. These guys brought on a ton more staff on board and helped with their output, but the channel became increasingly stressful and less enjoyable for the pair. Anthony eventually left Smosh, and Defy Media, the parent company, went bankrupt in 2018, firing almost everyone on board. In an interesting turn of events, the Good Mythical Morning guys bought Smosh in 2019 and then actually sold it back to Ian and Anthony earlier this year. So they went from a huge brand to a dead channel, back to a huge channel all over the span of nearly 20 years. The history of Smosh is super interesting and deserves a video on its own for sure. Ian and Anthony are now back producing content for Smosh, but Anthony also has a very successful channel of his own. He hosts the series I Spent the Day With, where he interviews a load of different types of people. It does make me happy to see that the pair are back in charge of Smosh, because they were one of the first channels I remember watching back in 2009, and 8-year-old me thought they were the funniest thing since fart jokes. Just like today, YouTube had already began turning a bit corporate, even in 2013. Many of the biggest channels weren't really YouTubers, and instead were musicians with channels posting music videos and were ran by their record labels. Psy, or PSY, was the 3rd most viewed channel that year with 1.8 billion views, followed by One Direction, Rihanna and Justin Bieber. But right up there with Justin Bieber was a name you don't hear that often anymore, and that's Skydo Minecraft. Amassing well over 1 billion total views, 2013 was the year where Skydo Minecraft rose to stardom. Sky would frequently post interesting Minecraft videos, often focusing on Minecraft mods, and this niche would spring them to the top. Unlike PewDiePie and Smosh, Skydo's Minecraft doesn't seem to be doing so well compared to them in 2023. In 2018, they changed the channel name to Sky Does Everything with the aim of posting more non-Minecraft related content, but this didn't really work out too well and views began to decline. But the decline of this channel was made even worse after his ex-girlfriend posted a statement on Twitter about him. She claimed that she was treated pretty terribly and that he had assaulted women in the past. After her lengthy document was posted, several others who'd worked with before came out in support of her, saying that Adam was unprofessional, manipulative, and hard to deal with. Adam didn't really respond properly to much of this publicly, and although he may have tried to ignore it, this event all but sealed the fate of their YouTube career. In 2022, the Sky Does Everything channel was found up for sale on a site for buying channels. It was listed for $900,000, but no one bought it. Until very recently, all of his social media profiles had been collecting dust, and hearing even a single word from him online was rare. However, Adam posted 2 videos to the channel recently where they gave some brief updates on what's been going on. He's now got a new job as the COO of Storyfire. I'd never heard of it before researching for this video, but it's basically a YouTube competitor which doesn't have as many limits for what you can post. Now that Adam is putting out a little bit of content here and there, I'm sure the story will unfold, but for now it remains unclear what the future holds. The 4th biggest YouTuber, excluding musicians, was Disney Collector BR. It was a kids channel where they would do Play-Doh and mystery egg videos. One of their videos today has over 300 million views, but the competition for content like this has really ramped up over the years. Nowadays, the channel posts infrequently and often gets around 10,000 views on a video. Oh, and they've rebranded to Building Toys, and most of their old videos are now unlisted. All of the videos are faceless, and it's still not fully clear exactly who runs the channel. It's likely that she's now pretty much retired and definitely has enough money to just sit back and enjoy life, assuming that they didn't blow it all. The channel is definitely very much dead though, and gets around 20 to 30,000 views in total per day on average, and this is largely due to unlisting so many videos. So that's 2 channels which are alive and well, and 2 channels which are pretty much dead beyond repair. There are a couple of interesting things we can learn from the outcomes of these channels, which will help us determine what makes a channel's success come to an end. Firstly, there's lack of change. If a YouTuber continues to post exactly the same content again and again for years, large portions of their audience will grow bored and no longer tune in. Another important factor is age. If you're making videos for a very young audience like Disney Collector BR was, you can lose viewers over time due to them growing up and no longer watching your videos. The only way to get around this is to bring in a ton of new viewers or mature the content over time. A great example of this working well is the Sidemen. They realised that much of their core audience came from years and years ago, back when they were making crossbar challenge videos, and many of them are now adults, which is why they made the shift towards slightly more mature videos, which can still appeal to people in their late teens and early 20s. There's also the competition. Some channels become so popular that their video ideas become copied, and then the channels which originally imitated them actually surpass them in views, often thanks to releasing higher quality content. Gaming in particular has always been a hugely competitive area to make videos in because there are just so many gaming channels, so it's hard to stand out and remain on top when new games and new channels are being created every single day. Almost all gaming channels have a fairly short lifespan due to this. With that being said, it's not always in your own control if a channel dies. People evolve and YouTube evolves too. The algorithm favours different content over time, and it's easy to get caught on the wrong side of the algorithm and tossed into the depths of obscurity if you're not careful. And with that, thank you so much for watching. This isn't the usual content I've been making, but since my main channel received a strike, I'm focusing on more different types of videos. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to subscribe, because I have a ton of interesting videos I'm working on right now.